I'm looking for a new podcast, one that preferably is hosted by a UF Hall of Famer, one that airs every weekday that would bring me everything I need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions. Siri, is there such a show?
Have you heard of PodUp with Matthews in the morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or any podcast platform?
Oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? UF Hall of Famer Shane Matthews has a show every weekday. I'm gonna go check it out tomorrow. Thanks, Siri.
Good morning. It's a Wednesday morning, a hump day edition of Matthews in the Morning, coming to you from the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the state of Florida, right there in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Go buy your old lady a ring at International Diamond Center. Comfort Temp Heating Air is your #1 local HVAC company. If you're getting cold, get your heater fixed. Visit them at comforttemp.com. We got JC today. We'll have Edgar Thompson from the Orlando Sentinel. And had a lot of college basketball last night. Duke beats Texas. I don't know what else. I think the college football playoff rankings came out. Let's hear what old JC has to say about those. Good morning, JC. You're on the More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Town.
Well, I see that you're in bourbon country, so
yep, we're headed that way, so we might as well drink up on the program.
I know you're excited about it. Listen, so two things I want to get to. The first thing is QB. I heard you guys yesterday. I was watching, and one of the things you talked about. Well, actually, I don't know if this was on your show or another one I watched, because I do watch and listen to a lot of shows. But honestly, the conference championship games, and specifically the ones in the Big Ten and the SEC. I think I'm thinking about it. And more I'm thinking about it, if I'm Indiana and Ohio State, and I know I'm playing in that game, and I know I'm going to be in the playoffs, and likely one of us will be with a bye, and the other will be playing as a high seed on their home field in 2 weeks after that game. I'm really wondering, I know that there's this thing about winning conference championships, but really what the bigger prize is clearly not that. And do you want to risk Fernando Mendoza and Julian Sayin in that game when reality is that game will be forgotten 24 hours after it's finished?
But not if you win the championship, JC. Those are things that go on the walls of the facilities. You get rings. You're honored 30 years later when you're an old man as the Big Ten champion.
Well, the bigger prize is much later. And
right.
the only thing I'd say is, how did Georgia feel about it? Do you think they give a damn about?
No. I think they would have loved to have won the SEC when they won the national title.
No. I'm talking about last year when Georgia won the SEC game. They beat the Texas Longhorns. Mm-hmm. They lost their quarterback, and they were subsequently eliminated right after. It's a risk. That's all I'm saying.
But the quarterback that they're playing with is better than the one that got hurt.
Well,
he played last year.
At that time, if he was better, he would have started in the SEC game, and he didn't. But the thing is that, you've got Texas A&M, Alabama, let's say they play. Let's just hypothetically say they play. Is Alabama going to win anything without Ty Simpson? No. Is Texas A&M going to probably win without Marcel Reed? No. And you are risking it in a meaningless game. And even though you say it means something in the big picture.
But I totally hear where you're coming from. But from a competitor's, a player, and a coach's standpoint, they don't think that way.
Yeah.
They're going to try to win their conference championship and then try to win a national championship. I promise you that's what every one of them are thinking.
I get it, but wouldn't those games be better served as maybe a play-in game for some of these middle-seeded SEC teams that could potentially get into the playoff scenario with a 10-2 record or something like that? I don't know. I'm just thinking there could be better use for that game because it really is meaningless. Now,
but you know what's crazy, JC?
Go ahead.
It'll probably have more revenue than any of the other playoff games.
Maybe
it's the greatest sporting football game out. It's bigger than the national title game. It really is.
It may have been in the past. I
still think it is.
Going forward, it doesn't matter, QB. 2 weeks after that game's over, nobody cares. It doesn't matter. That's the only thing. But I also heard another thing on the show yesterday, and this did come from your podcast, and it was a tweeter who came in and said, so many job openings, too little great coaches. And I patently and categorically disagree with that. You have to remember that a lot of these good coaches today that we're talking about were assistants before without head coaching experience. In fact, the three coaches with national titles right now were assistant coaches when they were hired to become head coaches. Dabo, Kirby, and Ryan Day were all assistants. They did not have head coaching experience. You look at people like Clark Lee. He was an assistant. Nobody was excited about him. He's a great coach. Scott Satterfield, Kalani Sitake, Jeff Monken, Willie Fritz, John Summerall, Rhett Lashley, Lance Leipold, Eric Morris. I mean, I could go on and on and on. These are good coaches, QB. And I don't mean that they're a fit for everywhere, and they're not. But there are lots of good coaches. And here's the other thing I would say is why is it that the University of Florida can't find an alumni or a former player other than Steve Spurrier to be a great coach at this school? You know, we talk about Brent Key at Georgia Tech. We talk about
well, hang on. There's a
Jeff
difference.
Brom at Louisville.
Here's the difference. Is Brent Key was already on the staff as an assistant at Georgia Tech.
Sure. Okay, fine. He's also a guy that wanted to coach his alma mater. We have players, former players, and that played at Florida that I think would be good coaches.
We only have one that can do that.
That's what I'm saying. It's really strange right now how nobody else has even thought of in this school with an alumni base that's as big as anybody's in the country, and it just blows my mind. I mean, look at Mike Elko. I think he's from the Northeast. He was an assistant coach at Texas A&M before he got his shot at Duke, and now he's one of the hot names out there at Texas A&M that they're talking about moving to a place like Penn State potentially or somewhere. Clark Lee is pissed off that he's making $3.5 million at Vanderbilt, and in negotiations, they're holding his alma mater ties to the school against him. What if he splits and goes to Penn State? I think there's a lot of good coaches out there that could take jobs, and Florida will get one. Bob Chesney at James Madison, nobody talks about him. He's a fine coach. So there's a lot of good coaches, bro. That's all I'm saying. Lots of.
Josh and Wamama on the Titan of our text line says it seems a lot of offensive-minded coaches are getting fired this year. Why is that you think besides the obvious of not winning enough? Is it just bad quarterback play? So quarterbacks are getting these guys fired, or what do you think? Well, there's an old saying, how does that saying go? Has something about when the coach attaches himself to a quarterback, sometimes things don't work out.
Well, that's
I don't know the exact saying, but y'all know what I'm talking about.
Well, QB, it's true though. It's a good question. I mean, that's what killed Hugh Freeze.
Look, if your quarterback doesn't play well, you ain't got a chance.
Yeah, and Hugh Freeze whiffed 3 times on quarterback. He stayed with that Peyton Thorne. He tried this guy that they have now. None of it worked out. It cost him his job. You know, when I was in Ohio at Columbus Saturday, Urban Meyer was there with Shelley. And just a week or so earlier than that, Steve Spurrier was at South Carolina in his garnet jacket. And these coaches have great experiences at other schools, but Urban Meyer was another guy who was basically an assistant and got a head job. Kyle Whittingham, he was an assistant on Urban's staff, and he became.
Well, you got to be an assistant before you become a head coach, JC.
What? Yeah, but I'm saying that's what I'm saying is when you look for a coach. I know Florida wants an established head coach. I get it, but there is a lot of diamonds in the rough out there as assistants that could really.
Well, there are, but we've rolled the dice on that too many times. That's the problem.
That's because of the people making the choices. I'm not thrilled.
Well, they went for the people that you're referring to the last 3 or 4 times, and it didn't work out. That's the problem.
Well, Dan Mullen was a head coach. QB.
No, right. He's the only one. I mean,
Jim
McElwain was a head coach too, but Colorado State don't count.
Okay.
It doesn't count. They're looking for another coach, by the way. Maybe he can go back there.
Well, yeah.
So anyway, all right. This is a text here saying strong rumors is that Kiffin has told current players and recruits he's staying at Ole Miss. Well, that does not matter, people. He has to tell them that. Our coaches are recruiting still for the Gators, and they know they're not going to be here. That's just the game you have to play.
Yeah, that's a tricky game to play 3 weeks after your season's before your season.
It does not matter, JC, because if Coach X leaves, the guys he's recruiting, that new staff's going to recruit the kid too.
Yeah, I guess.
But trust me, because no commitments, regardless of any recruit, mean a damn thing in today's world. 0.
Yeah.
Daryl says, if Mark Stoops gets fired at Kentucky, do you think he becomes a defense coordinator at D1 school? Possibly, or he may just say, you know what, I'm done coaching.
for a while.
His brother, retired at an early age, Bob Stoops.
Yeah.
But he's a damn good. We always struggle against his defenses. Uh,
You think Florida's team total should be an under this
what
weekend?
is it?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't even look. Just what does it matter if it's
Well, I mean, we had 280 yards of offense last week.
Yeah.
I just don't. I know we never play well there. I can't remember the last time we played well in
Well,
Kentucky.
when you played 30 years ago,
Okay, well, that's nobody cares about that.
nobody cares.
Okay, so Bo says Spur on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plum. Spurs are very sharp for his age. There has to be a way to work him into calling plays. He keeps it simple, keeps defense on. Guys, I hear what you're saying. A, he's not going to do that. B, he has zero idea what the terminology is for the offense right now. Zero. I don't even know what the terminology is. You can't just go in there and implement new terminology week 9 or whatever it is. So,
Well, listen, I'm not interested in whatever the excuse was for them not doing well on Saturday offensively.
we're
Dallas
not good
Wilson.
on offense. I
No,
mean,
but it was affected by, I think, missing Dallas Wilson when he got his foot hurt was bad. That hurt.
well,
They couldn't cover.
I hear that, but we got here's the thing. There's way too many damn excuses. You either win the game or you lose the game, JC. I mean,
What about? Well, yeah, no, it's true. QB, I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just saying there were some things that happened that changed, the ability of Florida to do things, and it's unfortunate. Certainly, you need a little luck in some of these damn games too, from time to time. But there is a former Gator who is actually a head coach right now, and he's doing fine. He's doing just fine. In fact, he was doing so fine that they plucked him out of Arizona after 1 year or maybe two. I don't know. But Jed Fish is up there at Washington. He's a former Gator. QB.
well, he's a former graduate from University of Florida. Yeah,
Okay, it's the closest thing I could get.
yeah. Dan says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law. Iowa basketball was on last night, and the whole team with transfers from where the coach was before. Yeah, Drake. They're good. He's a good coach. He's a very good coach.
Well,
Uh,
I don't know. I just get very scared, and you're gonna talk me off the ledge here, QB, because I love your passion and your conviction on Lane Kiffin. But the reality is, things can change. His mind can change. Anything can change in the next 2 months. And if you
right, but they're going to have look. Lane
really
is
set
probably
yourself
within
up
the
for
next. He
disappointment.
probably already told them what's going on.
I'm
That
sure he did, but he
okay,
didn't
but
tell
what I'm
them
saying
what he's
is,
doing. But he didn't tell him what he's doing, QB. You know that because it would have been leaked. You know this, dude.
I don't know that. I don't know
But
that.
you
But I'm
also
just
know.
telling JC. I'm just telling
Yeah.
you. Okay, let's just take Lane out of it. You got to take out the playoff run has zero to do with it. I'm telling you, it has zero to do with it because the college landscape has changed. He's not going to be worried about those kids not having him as their coach. If
No,
this
I'm
would have
talking.
happened before the transfer portal, yes, it's a
Yeah,
different story. But now that's what used to be weighing on coaches' minds is, look, I told these people I was going to be with them for 4 or 5 years. Well, that's not the case anymore because the kid can haul ass.
mm,
That's not even a factor anymore. The factor is going to come down, does he want to live in Gainesville, Florida, or does he want to live in Oxford, Mississippi?
yeah. I had a couple of Alabama people yelling at me for being up in Ohio State. I said, you know something? I'm just out here looking at other things, just like coaches do and just like players do. If coaches and players can change jerseys every other year or every year, so why can't we? Just for a weekend.
Well,
So
JC, you do that a lot.
yeah, but you know where my heart is if you know me. All right. And there's no disputing that. There is none. I just don't have a problem with it as much as some other people do when it comes to wearing hats and jerseys and things like that. I really don't. I didn't play
Yeah.
for anybody. But I did go to
I root for two schools, and that's all I root for, JC.
Yeah, I know, but you like to see other teams win too. I mean, you were rooting like hell for Mississippi State the other night.
Oh, I mean,
And
I like, yeah,
yeah, but that would be sacrilegious if you were a true Ole Miss rebel.
that's right. Yellow Car Wash, locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations on Northwest 13th Street, Wilson Road, and coming soon to Jonesville. All right, let's do this day in sports real quick before I forget. Brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Puts a star power to work in your financial life at Campus USA Credit Union. 1996, JC, you know who the rookie of the year was in the American League?
In 96, I'm going to say it was Derek Jeter.
Shortstop Derek Jeter was a
How about
unanimous
that?
choice as
Greatest
the AL Rookie of the Year.
greatest team of all time was the 98 Yankees. Indisputable. But yeah, no, those the Yankees had organic growth in those early or late 90s that produced multiple World Series championships. Multiple. They didn't buy them. They got them from the system. Bernie Williams, Jorge Posada, Tino Martinez, Derek Jeter. It was a wonderful time to be a Yankee fan. Now it's hell. And after last night in New York City, I wish you luck, folks, in the Big Apple.
All right. Rick in Jupiter on the Titan text line says, as an avid golfer, can you explain to the chat what a scramble is? I personally hate it. It's the millennials taking over, in my opinion. No, scrambles have been around forever. Scrambles are more
Millennials.
for charity events
I like these.
to speed up play. It's for the average person that doesn't play golf. They're going out donating their time and their money to whatever the charity is. And usually they're not very good golfers. Some are very good golfers, but you hit a shot, your entire group goes to the best shot, and they hit another shot from there. Ball's on the green, everybody putts from the same spot. It's not real golf. That's why I don't like it.
You know what? Yes, no, you don't. I'm going to scream at my neighbor who, they should name him head coach. Bub, take over the job.
Oh,
he,
Bub,
yeah, he already left. He already left.
you already
But
left.
I was.
Bub's frustrated too, so let's just leave it at that.
Listen, man, hire a former Gator. Somebody get up there and hire a former Gator. Take a chance. I think you can do it. I think you can, man. Just do
JC,
it.
Michael has a question here on YouTube
All
brought to
right.
you by just that ain't gonna happen. So we're beating a dead horse. Michael on YouTube brought to you by Quality Pump says, would Florida beat Virginia in football? Virginia's
Maybe
pretty good.
Virginia's not bad. I mean, they had a big win over Cal. Tony Elliott has done an amazing job. He'll be the coach of the year in the ACC. I don't think there's any doubt
Easily.
about it.
Easily.
Let me tell you what's hilarious. You want to know what's hilarious?
Virginia's probably going to play Ole Miss in the first round.
It's all possible. There's still plenty of football left for all of this to change, in spite of what you saw on TV last night. That was a made-for-TV event. It's to sell advertising. It means pretty much nothing, but there is some meaning behind it. But it really is not set in stone because we have a lot of football to go to play in the month of November. But what I find very funny is that the two schools who sued the ACC conference for lack of relevance, basically, and trying to get out of the ACC, well, they're playing at Clemson this weekend. And the television network that's showing them is the ACC network. It's not even on ESPN QB. I find that to be hilarious because of how irrelevant Florida State and Clemson have become. In fact, Clemson is so irrelevant, your beloved Tigers, that they have one home win. And in that home win, they were losing to Troy at halftime. So they've lost to Syracuse, they've lost to whomever, and now Dabo is looked upon as washed up, done. They're trying to forget that they even have him. And Florida State's showing up this weekend in what used to be a really big and highly anticipated football game, and nobody cares. Now, QB, Florida's playing Kentucky. Is it a 4 o'clock or 7 o'clock? What?
7 o'clock game.
Oh, good. So you get to stay up all night.
I get to get home like 3 a.m. I'm looking forward to it.
Work them silly, baby.
What happened to like when you have bad teams playing at noon?
Well, you remember you said at the beginning of the season, none of these games were going to be played.
I know. It's crazy. They came out before the season says the Gators will not play any noon games. I mean, how can you determine that until you see how the teams are?
I think it's hilarious. Yeah, I mean,
We got 2, 3, and 5 teams playing at 7 o'clock.
This would be a perfect noon game.
Yeah, we could get home at a decent hour. But oh well.
Oh well, QB, that's right. You spend the day in Lexington, and there's a burger joint called Huge Ass Burgers, and it's Hugh Jass, HUGHJASS in Lexington. So anybody going to Lexington this weekend, go near campus on the main drag and look for Hugh Jass Burgers.
All right. Kevin's got this. I'm going to let you answer it, then I'm going to answer on the Titan text line. Does UF being the only SEC school in the state make it more attractive today than 5 years ago? I'll go first.
Go ahead.
It doesn't matter if it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or today. We are the university in the state of Florida. I mean, that's a fact.
Okay.
We
All
are the
right.
flagship
Yeah.
university in the
Big
state.
land grant institution. What was the question again?
Does UF being in the only SEC school in the state make it more attractive today than 5 years ago?
Oh, I see. Well, I think attractability is in the eyes of the beholder these days. Really, it just comes down to where you think you're going to be able to battle and play hard. As
Right, but
far as that
what I think
goes, it's all the
where I'm
same.
going with it is you're in this great recruiting state.
Yeah.
You're
I mean,
you're in the SEC, so you're
yeah.
getting
No,
more money than the
yeah,
ACC
sure.
schools. You're in the premier conference.
Yeah.
Um,
No, there's a lot of selling points, QB, but they don't get players at Miami and Florida State because of how they missed out on Florida. I don't believe that for a
no,
second.
no, no.
I
But
also
I mean,
don't believe a
again, you got to
bachelor's
remember, you
degree.
can only
Yeah,
sign 25 guys a year.
and I'll tell you this: a bachelor's degree here, a bachelor's degree at FSU, USF, UCF get you the same thing. It's up to your resume. It's up to what you do. But I pretty much think that as far as playing goes, when Florida's winning, it is when there's winning, it's the school most people tend to focus on in this state for pretty much obvious reasons. But I think nowadays with how mobile everybody is and how social media takes over on so many levels, it's just wherever you find the best opportunity now. I don't know. You get a chance to
47.
start at UCF or USF or be on the bench at Florida, you may just take that UCF USF thing.
Yeah, 47 JDK says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Billy's last QB at Louisiana was a lot like Tramel Jones in size and looks also better, more productive in points and wins than DJ. DJ needs to run 6 to 8 plays per game. He needs to learn to run with a rhythm.
He needs to lose 25 pounds. Let's start there.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I'm not trying
No,
to.
that's a fact. That's a
I'm not
fact.
trying to poke fun at the young man. I would
No.
not do that. But I'm telling you, anybody who watches knows this. And as a coaching staff, I don't. I'm going to ask my neighbor why that hasn't happened. Why somebody hasn't gotten on him about that. But there's a lot of things he probably doesn't want to talk about with regards to football. So
He's not going to talk to you about that, Joseph.
I'm not going to bother him with that. I'm going to talk to him about his handicap, about what he's drinking these days, and how his kids are. That's what we're going to talk about. But I tell you, I think I think when Florida does land this coach, it is paramount that he gets off to a quick start, both off the field and obviously on the field when the spring comes with his roster. It's paramount, and that's what concerns me. And you say it's all hogwash. Don't you worry about it. Doesn't matter. I get it, but I think January is a long time from now, and these jobs are going to be taken by the end of November, I think.
All right, Brian from Live Oak on the Titan More text line says Turnkey can keep everything confidential where before they were leaks. In all likelihood, Turnkey and Scott know if Lane is coming or not.
Who is Turnkey?
That's that firm. Remember, I told you that's
Oh,
when they have the firms because everything, all emails are locked down.
okay.
I expect an announcement after the Egg Bowl if he is coming. Don't understand the mentality of some that we have to hire a coach that is not good enough to make the playoffs over a coach that is making a championship run because they are available.
Well,
I agree with that.
yeah. I listen. Good luck, guys. I hope you get who you want, and I know it's Lane Kiffin. It's pretty much standard. You are telling every club you talk to that that's who should be the next coach, and there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with
Why
that.
shouldn't I?
I think
It's
there's
my
nothing.
fault.
There's nothing wrong with that. I was just gonna say there's nothing wrong with that. That is fine, but it better. Let's just hope it comes true. That's
And if
all.
he does it, oh well. I mean,
Yeah, I
I'm no
know.
different than these morons on ESPN and these other places.
Morons.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I'm
no.
not one that's going to, well, we'll get this guy. The next week I change my mind. I'm on one guy and one guy only. And if I'm in charge of the program, I'm focusing all my attention on that guy to get the best guy for the job.
I got a name for you right now. Who's offensive minded, who's lighting up the world, who would be a great staffer on Lane's staff. Ready?
Oh,
Brady Ackerman. Brady Ackerman from Bellhaven. Go check out
Bellhaven.
their quarterback. See how that's
But
going.
he's not. But he's not calling the plays though, JC.
What? He isn't. You sure about that?
No, I think they have their head coach calls the plays. I think you check on that and let me know.
The kid's lighting it up. That's all I got to say. Lighting it up.
All right, there was something I wanted to read here, but I can't find it now. This thing's scrolling so damn fast.
It is flying, man. We've got lots of viewers here.
31 Ember says, I'm every bit the moron as the people on ESPN, and I hope you're right. Look,
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm not a media guy. I'm a former player that does a podcast and does the color analyst. I just give my opinions from a playing standpoint, and I just think he's going to be our next coach.
There you go. Okay, good. I love that you are that firm about it. I love the conviction. I would rather have you say that than just bounce around a bunch of names and we're just sitting out
there's
there.
no reason to. If he decides to stay, here's what I do think, JC. You tell me. Do you either think he's the Florida coach or the Ole Miss coach?
Man,
I don't think the other schools are even in this thing.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay. Yeah, it's one of those two. I'll go with that. Yeah. I'll go with that. I'll go with that because honestly,
and I do think that if he decides to stay at Ole Miss, it's because of living in Oxford and living in Gainesville.
So you think Oxford would be his choice because he's happy there? I guess
it's a different
life,
living situation.
Yeah,
I don't know how to explain it.
I love the tweet he had about killing animals and waiting to do it until after the game. That blew my mind. That was so funny. But QB, you have to admit, and I'm not pissing all over the guy, but he was truly a public embarrassment before he got situated. And to walk around South Florida looking for real estate, missing meetings at FAU, and to go to these bars down there under an alias of Joey Freshwater just tells you that, man, he's come a long way, baby. And so since he's come to Mississippi, all of that noise has gone away. And I think it's wonderful because, Al Davis basically said they duped me into hiring the guy. They duped me. They wanted to, Knox County, Tennessee wanted to name a sewage plant after him. That's actually true. At USC, they wouldn't let him get on the bus or plane or something like that. So things have come a long way for him. And I think now he's ready to either, like you say, finish it out and do something special at Ole Miss, or try something new at a 3-time national championship team school. It's been a long time.
People keep asking me, why do I think he would choose Florida over Ole Miss?
Well, there's a lot of reasons.
There's a lot of reasons, and it's not because I'm a Gator. Look, I know the Ole Miss program. I know football has changed. I know he can get whoever he wants out of the portal. But when it's all said and done,
he can do it here too.
I don't know how many 5-stars he has at Ole Miss. I don't keep up with their roster.
That doesn't matter. But
it does. A lot of people say the 5-stars matter when you look at national championship teams.
Look, they didn't beat Oklahoma with a bunch of 5-stars. They beat them with a good quarterback and a guy who's doing it, coach. Ole Miss.
I'm not talking about Oklahoma. I'm talking about to win it all. I'm talking about to
Mississippi beat Oklahoma.
I know that, but what I'm saying is nobody will change my mind that he can't get the better athlete overall. Like, I'm not talking about one or two. I'm talking about the entire roster would not be better at Florida or at Auburn or at LSU than it would be at Ole Miss. Nobody will ever tell me, change my mind on that. So that doesn't mean you're going to win games, JC. The reason they're winning games, I keep telling people, is why. Because he's their freaking coach.
Absolutely. Yeah, sure. No, it makes sense. And there's nothing wrong with that. I believe the logic behind what you're saying. Barone, since you're in bourbon country, wants to know what our top shelf bourbon is. I'm a cheap bourbon drinker, folks.
I like Woodford Reserve.
Yeah, and I'll drink Knob Creek and be just as happy as the next guy. Crown Royal, I'll be happy as the next guy. Nobody, I have so many friends that look at it like with magnifying glasses, and then they sip it and they let it linger on their tongue and they do all this crap with it. And I'm like, dude, you're going to piss it out in an hour and a half. Who cares? I think there is a palate for it. I don't have it, so I'm not the guy to ask. But give me some Knob Creek and a Diet Coke, and I'm great. In fact, I embarrassed myself one time, and although the woman who was hosting us, or me at the time, the guy offered me some Blantons. And I said, yeah, I'll take a Blanton's and Diet Coke. And people just fell out of their chairs. So, this is the kind of guy I am in terms of that kind of
Yeah.
thing. I don't really care.
All right, so real quick,
Just the man
someone
that's
here
got a
said
coach.
DJ's a 5-star. It means nothing. I agree with that. I don't guess I don't explain myself very well. What I'm saying is Lane to me is one of the top coaches in America. He evaluates talent better than anybody. His
Right.
receivers are outstanding, and none of them
Incredible.
are 5 stars. They know how to get open.
Yeah, yeah.
Between the coaching and how the
Well,
type of player he gets,
right.
I think he can do it at a bigger
I,
scale at a bigger type school.
I,
Maybe I don't make any sense on
no,
here,
you
but
do, and I love the way the quarterback is confident back there. He knows what he's
he
doing
knows what
because
he's doing. He takes his steps and the ball's gone. He processes information quickly.
and if the ball's not gone, he's gone. Because that's the kind of guy Lane wants, a guy with legs and a guy who can throw accurately. Now, who doesn't want that, right? But it seems like Lane Kiffin seems to find that player and he will bring that player to this school or to wherever.
I think he recruits different types of players. And Kerwin's the same way. Kerwin recruits different. He doesn't care about stars or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We got to get to Edgar, JC. Have a good day.
Love Edgar. Have a good one. See you.
Let's JC join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Town. Quick timeout. Come back. We'll have Edgar Thompson from the Orlando Sentinel. You're watching, listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios.
Our premium sponsors are Atlantic Roofing, Campus USA Credit Union, International Diamond Center, J.F. Hayden's Craft Liqueurs, Los Landeros Tequila, Meldon Law, Titan MRI and Imaging, UF Health Orthopedics. Our gridiron sponsors are Baker's Sports, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, McDonald's of Gainesville, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Advocare, and MG&A Wealth. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. And if you want to advertise, give my man Freddie a call at 352-284-3733.
Naysayers. Setbacks. Injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
Coach, it always impressed me how you beat Florida State to win the 1996 National Championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spur's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave Los Landeros Tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean Head Beer Coach 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros Tequila, smooth enough to drink neat, bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros Tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Miapa Latin Cafe is proud to support Gator Nation for 22 years. New location opening in Alachua. New building, same great food served with a smile. Check them out at one of their 5 locations. That is Yapa Latin Cafe. Back to the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort. We're joined by Edgar Thompson from the Orlando Sentinel. Edgar, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. It's getting warmer again, man. It's
Edgar,
freezing.
should we cancel the basketball season? So many people are very upset about the basketball team. It blows my mind.
Well, we get tied today at 12:45, and I was gonna say something. It's funny you say that, like, hey, good season, Todd.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing the amount of text and stuff that I got on the Titan No More text line about this team has no chance. We're soft. We can't shoot. I mean, it's one game. We're going to lose 7, 8 games this year. I'm telling you right now. It does not matter.
Yeah, I think there's some overreaction. I do think there's some reasons to wonder who the shot maker is going to be. He brought that up like a couple weeks ago, right? It was prescient. He's like, hey, we don't have a Walter Clayton shot maker. Who does though? And who has? When you go back last year and you get your mind around the fact that he was the first player since Larry Bird in 1979 who just took over that tournament until he ran into Magic in the finals in 1979 to score 30 in an Elite Eight game, followed by 30 in a Final Four game. That just tells you how amazing Walter Clayton was. And everyone knows, everyone saw it. First team All-American in school history. So you're not going to replace him, as the cliche goes, but where are those clutch moments going to come from? I was disappointed still in a few performances. I thought Chinyello was terrible. Great kid, 1 rebound, 5 fouls in 18 minutes. I mean, that's about as bad as you can play. Condon had 6 turnovers. I don't know what was up with him.
Well, I'm glad you brought him up.
Last one, and Boogie Flan didn't. I mean, I'm not sure who was telling him he wasn't ready for the NBA last year. He's got to grow beyond belief to be ready for the NBA after this year. So, right, it's like, so you can be honest about what you saw, but it's one game against what could be an excellent team with a veteran point guard who hit all the clutch shots and a beast at power forward. Their freshman, that Koa Pete, I mean, he's unbelievable.
Yeah. Like I said, I didn't get to see the game because I was driving after I spoke down south. But the Condon thing, man, he bothered me last year. I always talk about what my eyes tell me. I just think he's a very average player at best. I don't see what the NBA scouts see. I don't think he's got great ball skills. I don't think he dribbles well. He may pass well, but he doesn't shoot well. Turns it over too much. I don't know how he played in this game. Obviously, he didn't play well because I got a bunch of text about it.
Well, he had 6 turnovers.
But what do you think people see in that?
Well, I think he's a very deft passer. He sees the court very well, and he plays extremely hard. I remember even when he was struggling last year in the tournament games. I mean, he does really play, above the rim hard. He challenged some shots at Auburn that were really key down the stretch of that game. And he was playing hurt a lot last year. I was expecting a lot more. And you thought that he had put in a lot of work during the offseason, maybe to refine his offensive game or to establish a better offensive game. Didn't see it. So it wasn't good. But like criticizing Tommy Houck at the 3.
You can't.
Let's see that unfold a little bit. Maybe he would be better at the 4. Maybe. It's one game. I'm not going to start judging Tommy Houck whether he's good at the 3 or not, or what. The guy plays his tail off. He's an unbelievable effort guy and just filling the stat. He got to the line a ton. He generated a lot of points. Without him, they get blown out. The funny thing is, Shane, you didn't watch the game. The Gators scored like 4 points or something the first 8 minutes of the game. It was like, man, they're just going to run this team. And then you saw what happened. So ran out of steam.
Yeah, for sure. Somebody on here, I wanted to know who was the reporter that asked Coach Gonzalez after the Georgia game if he spoke with Billy Napier.
I did.
Oh, that was you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
It was on Monday.
Okay.
I was curious. I didn't know if Billy Napier was, I don't see the issue with that. I mean, if he's keeping in contact with the team, I found it interesting he said no. Honestly, I thought he would have.
Speaking
I'm
of that,
sure he talked to Dan Mullen after those games against Florida State, a game against Florida State at least, probably. But they go back 25 years. I mean, Billy and Billy Gonzalez have been together only a couple.
Johnny on the Titan MR text line says, Edgar, do you think it's interesting that Billy Napier never sent out publicly a letter to the Gator fans like most coaches do after they leave or are fired?
I didn't consider it. I guess they did. Did Dan do that? I don't remember.
I think every coach did
Jim McElwain do that?
I think so.
He didn't talk to reporters. I know that. Neither did Dan. But the last three have not done press conferences. And I'm not like, didn't chat my ass or anything, if I can use that word on a family show. But the Muschamp did like a press conference. It was almost like a send off, like glowingly. And so did Zook, where he even broke down. And you're seeing a guy who was like one of the ultimate hard asses choking up. However, each of those guys did coach out the rest of the season. So that might be why. It was, I wasn't expecting Billy to get up and just, take questions. But yeah, it's a good point. Hey, look, you can guys find him. He goes to the gym in town. If you live in Gaines, he's going to the gym.
All right, let's switch gears to football. Gators traveled to Kentucky. I was talking to JC, and I was thinking about this the other day. I can't remember the last time we actually played well in Lexington. They kind of lull you to sleep there. It's going to be a night game. They're 3-5. We're 3-5. Your thoughts on this game?
I wish I could remember what happened in 2013, because that would have been early in the season before the wheels came off. Because didn't Easley blow out his knee, I think, before the Kentucky game that year? I don't remember what happened there. But 15 was the Will Greer start, where they finally admitted he was the starting quarterback. Remember, it was that Treon Harris, like, back and forth thing. 14-9. Then they go there in 17. And Luke Del Rio saves their bacon, but really stoops his defense.
But that was the game, because we
didn't cover the receivers
twice. They uncovered receivers.
Yeah, so they won like 28-27 or some crazy thing like that. And then in fact, I was looking at that game just a little bit earlier, just to kind of find out. So I ran into your boy Doring the other day in the parking lot, and at Fresh Market, they erased a 13-point deficit during the final 11 minutes, the Gators. So in that game, because I talked to Chris, I'm like, basically, if anyone knows how hard it is to win at Kentucky, it's that guy, because they needed the miracle play with Danny Werfel. But I was there in 2003. They were down 18 points with freshman Chris Leak against J-Lo. Remember Jared DeLorenzen?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And they come back and win. It was the biggest comeback on the road in UF history, later matched by a Vanderbilt game with Felipe Franks and Mullen, maybe in 19 or whatever. Anyway, then 2019, or it's 2018, excuse me, the Vanderbilt game. 2019, Felipe breaks his leg. They're down 21-10. Trask to the rescue. The rest is history there. They pound them in 2020. Kyle Trask Pitts 3 touchdowns in the swamp. Back to 21, 15 penalties, including 8 false starts. Like, I just remember this stuff. I hadn't even researched all this shit. I just remember it. And then 2023, they lose again. And I'm trying, oh God, that was after they beat Tennessee, right? And then they had that kind of tepid performance against Charlotte, right? They go up there and your seat wasn't even warm, and they're up 23-0. And Ray Davis looked like Herschel Walker. He ran for like 280 yards.
So you just answered my question. We have not played well there.
No, I'm just giving you the history. Which I'm about to write here when we hang up.
Yeah. It's gonna be tough because they play us really tough there, and we always stink it up for some reason.
Here's another one real quick for you, man. Sorry. They're under. I love your reactions because I'm just like taking over your show again.
No,
Sorry.
it's great. I got Edgar. I got so much crap going on reading text.
All right, well, keep reading. I got a good one.
Things you gotta.
I got a good stat.
Multitask on my program.
Last time they won a game, well, they did win the Florida State game last year in Tallahassee, and it was like in the 40s. That was their first time they'd won a game under 50 degrees going back like to 2020. And they had lost 5 straight games in sub 50s, which, I mean, doesn't sound cold, but to a Florida person, it is cold. I've been freezing lately. So, you know, they go up there and it's a little cold and chilly and maybe damp and things aren't going your way. It's just kind of like, you know, what are we doing here? Right. And then you're not focused. And if a couple of guys aren't focused, you give up a touchdown or you have some breakdowns or a bunch of penalties or whatever it is. So, yeah, they got to be on their P's and Q's. And what does this team have to play for other than like pride and the patch? And is it really going to win 3 games and get in a bowl game? I mean, they have to win this one, beat Tennessee and FSU. So, I mean, it's not like impossible, but it's unlikely.
Yeah. Text here on the Titan More text line from Rick in Jupiter. He says, Edgar, have you heard any behind the scenes changes that could help the next incoming coach? I know there's been some movement in the UAA lately. Any idea if that's a positive or negative for the next man up?
I don't want to get, you know, people retiring, losing jobs, whatever. I don't want to, you know, get too into the weeds on any of that. And I don't know what's all that's happened and all that's to come. I mean, I know some stuff, but it's not really appropriate. There's some moving pieces at the UAA. Okay. And there might be a changing of the guard, let's say. I think from the outside, what you hear is that is something that's been noticed, viewed. Look, these guys all have the same agents or two. There are a couple of guys running most of the coaches. Okay. Some coaches, I don't think Dan felt he had a great experience. I'm not saying Dan didn't create a lot of Dan's problems, but there was that famous thing where he comes back and he's like, how nothing had changed in 12 years. The same carpet, the same curtains, the same cadre of decision makers. And he's like, is anything changing around here? You don't think he complained to his agent about that, who also represents a number of the clients that are going to be in line for this job? You don't think Jim McElwain made it clear about things that weren't changing and how behind Florida was because of the decision-making of a group of people that have, many of whom are still kind of around or were? Do you know what I'm saying? So this is discussed. So maybe they're trying to like shift and get some new faces, some new blood, some new ideas.
Speaking of new ideas, new coaches, give us your update, Edgar, on just your thoughts when a coach may be announced. Because I know it's so strange. And I think because usually I was telling somebody the other day, you know, I said I'm exhausted talking about the coaching search because we still had 6 games left to play when it happened. Or it may have been 7 if you count the bye week, 7 weeks. Usually a coach gets fired, you know, with 1 or 2 games left, and then boom, then you kind of talk about it for 2 weeks, and then you have a new coach. But it's going to be drawn out for a while. When do you think the Florida new coach will be announced? Kind of a rough estimate of the time, and just give me your thoughts on who you think it's going to be.
Well, I mean, drawn out. Like, think Zook was drawn out, but there wasn't social media. Muschamp was kind of drawn out. But it's like Twitter was up and running and Facebook and all that, but still it wasn't like now. It's like relentless. It's unbelievable the misinformation that's already been thrown out. Marcus Freeman turned down the job. Lane Kiffin offered 13.5. I mean, let's just tap the brakes and all this stuff. Quit reading the internet, your listeners and just people. It's just absurd, the stuff that people go out and report or think they know Obviously there are conversations, there's vetting going on. You're trying to figure out how to make it work, what needs to happen to get your target, which I presume is Lane Kiffin. I mean, don't we presume that Lane Kiffin is the number one option here?
Very true.
And better be. But you can't just rely on that, because he could be playing on December 19th or 20th in Oxford, where they've lost one game in 4 years. And then he could be playing again New Year's Eve or day. And then where are you? The portal opens January 3rd. What if they win a couple of games? I don't know how that timing works. They play the Egg Bowl. They play the noon game on the 28th on an incredible day of college football, followed by Georgia Tech and Texas A&M. I mean, that is the lineup, man. That SEC Friday, November 28th, is going to be awesome. But would the stuff start leaking out about after that game that he's, going to coach the team, but he's leaving, or he signed an extension and not leaving? And then who do you move to? I think they like Drinkwitz over there by all accounts. I'm not excited about that, but I think he's a good football coach. I don't think he's going to excite the donor and the fan base and the ticket buyer. Jed Fish could be a backup option. Let's see how his season plays out. He's done pretty well. One win at Arizona to 10 in 3 years, and he's got Washington playing pretty well now again already in 2 years. So those are a few of the names. Jeff Brom's come up. I hear that he'd leave for a few jobs, and Florida's one of them. He makes $5.9 million. He can pretty much double that here if money matters to him. It matters to most. So I don't know. Those are the names. They're the names everyone keeps mentioning. I don't think anyone's tendering offers. I don't think anyone's turning down jobs yet. I think that we got to let this thing play out and have a little patience. I wouldn't want to be Scott Strickland, because I would be nervous about the timing and how that all fits. One thing you could consider is maybe you have a GM in place that starts making some moves, managing rosters, retaining and attaining players. I'm not sure how that'll work. So there's a lot of moving parts, man. And look, we're kept in the dark. Scott Strickland is not, chatting off to the side, telling us his strategy. I mean,
right.
Why would he?
Yeah.
I mean, he's stupid. You don't want people knowing what you're doing.
Yeah. Tim says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon, betting going on. Georgia takes a knee. How'd that go in Athens or nationally? I'm not sure what the question is, but that was a smart move. That's what you do. You guarantee winning the football game by taking a knee.
Yeah, but that hurt some bettors, man.
It did. It could have helped the Gator bettors, though. Think about that. Edgar, let everybody know how they can follow you on Twitter, read the stuff at the Orlando Sentinel, and also check out your podcast.
OS Gators, and then Mark Long and I are doing a podcast, Swamp Thing. So hopefully some people who wanted the video option will, because we switched now and we are now appearing on YouTube just starting this week. Our first show was yesterday. So apparently I say the word incredible too much. So I'll try to.
That's okay. You do an incredible job. Christopher says here on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, on High Top Sports, Shelton is saying Heupel is the dark horse. I don't know who Shelton is. I don't really know what High Top Sports is. I don't think
it's a podcast that has good following, but that Josh Heupel is the dark horse to come to Florida?
Yeah, I don't buy it. That's
probably they're trying to get rid of him at Tennessee now. Say that again?
Probably to get clicks. Maybe I should just say something on here to get clicks.
I think you do fine, but audience wise, but yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think the guys I mentioned, there could definitely be someone slipping in. I'm not going to say who it is. I have no idea. I don't know. I mean, but can you hire a coordinator, Shane? Can you go group of 5? That would be just so hard to sell. And you do need to win the press conference in this one and the donor base, because of the price tag of doing this is so high. In addition to the fact you're trying to get this swamp renovation off the ground, that's going to be extremely expensive. You need the donor base, fan base, ticket buyers energized. And I just don't know that Josh Heupel, a coordinator, a group of 5 coach, I don't know that even some of the guys on the list I said are going to do that. Lane Kiffin would.
So Alpha Gator wants, or no, John Jett says, I need to say Spurrier's coming back. He's the ambassador. That's what he's going to do. Good stuff, Edgar. Have a great day, my man.
Thank you, man.
That's Edgar Thompson. Join us on the Titan Moore Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Silverback Concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it. We stand by it. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.